Okay, so we are on day 8, and some of you might recognize this wonderful lady. She is coming back onto the challenge because today is day 8, and I feel like there's 2 groups of people. There's either we're doing really well and we're just crushing this challenge, or maybe we're kind of hitting that wall of this is not fun, or maybe I messed up a little bit over the weekend. Hilary has such great information for you guys, so I'm gonna let her introduce herself in case you haven't seen her in my last challenge. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm a therapist and I'm a relationship expert. I am creator of Hot, Healthy, and Happily Ever After, which is an online program and a lifestyle brand. And my focus is on having healthy relationships, not just with your lover, but with food, which is what we're gonna talk about today.
Yes.
So I'm excited to share.
It's perfect timing. You guys are gonna love her. We should probably do like a special and bring your old video back because it was so great.
Okay.
So one thing that I have found, and I get a lot of questions about, is when we have this bad relationship with food, how we deal with it. And so for clients that come to me and say, you know, I do really well, and then all of a sudden I get sad, or I get depressed, or I'm feeling something, I go to the fridge. That's where I'm going. So how would you address that, and what do you think are some good points to help people prevent them from using the fridge as a comfort place?
Good question. So I think it's really important to think about what is it that you turn to food for. And for some of us, it's stress. We talked about this on the other video. For us, it's stress. Sometimes it's loneliness or boredom. So if we can really start to think about what our internal dialogue is, this is our running commentary that we have with ourselves about everything all day long.
We talk a lot.
Yes, all day long, all day long. And so if you're having a rough day and you can hear yourself say, poor me, I had such a rough day, I deserve this. It allows you, I call it cognitive enabling, and it's just a fancy word for excuse making in your head that allows you to make the choices that you do. And so the thing is, you had a rough day, that is okay, you know, like it doesn't feel good, but eating for comfort in that moment is going to be fleeting. It goes away. And so to really acknowledge yourself for the rough day that you had is great. To do it instead of eating, to say, what can I do to acknowledge myself for this rough day? Do I need to call a friend? Do I need to go to my spouse or my partner and ask for a hug? Do I need to have a good cry? But that's going to ultimately feel better in the long run than those few moments where you're eating something for that comfort that you need. And I've heard people say, it's my sedation, or it's my compensation, it's my celebration. So if you can really think about what it is that you are specifically using food for, it will really help make better choices in those moments.
That's a great point. Like we were talking a little bit earlier before we started this video, is that we, as people, as humans, we so desire connection. And if we're lacking connection in any aspect of our life, whether it's our relationship or a connection with our parents or our sister or something, maybe a bridge that you burnt and you feel guilty about it, you're gonna go for that connection in some other way. And I think I see this so many times, it's with food. And so redeveloping those connections with the people in your life that are in your life for a reason. And especially with the superhero challenge, which is so great that you guys are all doing this together. And even if you don't know each other and you just met and you're maybe following each other on Instagram now, like that's still that connection. And so going towards those, commenting on people's pictures and giving encouragement and finding a connection. I think sometimes connection, we forget that we can get filled up by complimenting each other and or like telling people, wow, you did a great job. Like that makes you feel better, not just somebody telling you you're doing a really good job, even though that's great to hear. I like that. So let's go to celebration, because this is a little bit more for day 22. We're not quite there yet, but I just crushed this challenge. I went 21 days with no sugar, no alcohol, no grains, all the points. I deserve to have a giant cinnamon roll. I don't know, whatever, 2 gallons of wine and all the sugars. So let's talk about celebration, because there's a balance between, we want to be able to have balance in our life and not have to say no to wine all the time or have to say no to cinnamon rolls all the time. But if it's coming from a different place, how do you deal with how do we celebrate without going overboard? Maybe that's...
It's kind of the same thing that I was saying earlier. You want to acknowledge yourself. I would even say not just at the end of the challenge, but every time you make a good choice.
So every day you put your points in. I think that's very true. We think long term. We think 21 days, then then I'm happy, or then I was successful. But every single day you should feel successful if you did X, Y, Z.
Or even on day 3, if you're like looking at something that your kids are eating that isn't healthy and you want to just put it in your mouth. And you choose not to, is one of those moments where you need to acknowledge yourself. And that's what this is about. Celebrating in the end by overdoing it with food will unravel everything that you just worked so hard for. So you're really not honoring yourself and respecting all your hard work. So acknowledging yourself each and every time that you get to the gym when you don't really feel like it, or you push yourself a little bit harder than you would have, or you make a healthy choice, deserves acknowledgement. We all just want to be acknowledged. And that goes back to that connection thing too that you were saying. If you turn to food, it's not going to give you the connection that you think that it's going to give. You're, in those moments you think, I'm going to soothe myself, my hurting feelings or my stressful feelings or my loneliness, but it doesn't really soothe for very long. It's very temporary. So if you can turn to even the partners that you have in this challenge and seek that comfort, it may feel a little vulnerable,
very much.
But if everybody's doing it, it's such a safe place. You have such an amazing community.
You guys are pretty awesome.
People that are so engaged. But turning to your spouse or turning to a friend for that comfort that you really need, and that acknowledgement and validation goes so much further.
So true.
So
I like that a lot. That's a really great point. Anything else you want to address when it comes to like our emotional connection with relationships, and how sometimes they can start at a young age? Sometimes when someone goes through a hard time at a young age and food was their only answer, and now 20 years later they still can see that pattern and they're still fighting that pattern. Do you have any good takeaway tips for someone that might be going through that?
Yeah, that's really tough, because as kids, we learn all of this from our family and from our upbringing. And so for some of us, we learned that food is celebration and it's all about happiness. And so again, when you're thinking about today, if you're thinking, I'm going to go have dinner with a friend, but you're mostly thinking about the food that you're going to eat, then you're missing that connection with your friend.
That's true. That's very true.
And if you grew up in a household where there was a lot of trauma, drama, chaos, parents not there for you, or a lot of, just some of us have really bad experiences growing up, that's unfortunately. Food and, if I can say this, masturbation are things that kids have access to. And they don't really have access to drugs and alcohol. So those are the two things that we can do with ourselves that are comforting when we're little. And it becomes something that we can end up sticking with as an adult. So I think it's about acknowledging your pain and what role, again, the food has in your life, and is that what you want it to be? Because if your focus is on the food all the time, then you're missing out on what's really happening in your life.
That's
connecting with your friend. The dinner with a friend is about your friend.
I love that.
The food is still good.
That makes really good sense. I really, I think that's going to be powerful for a lot of you guys. So I guess a good takeaway challenge, we were brainstorming something that I want you guys to do today. We think you should reach out to somebody that gives you that connection, that fills you up, where food sometimes, if that wasn't there, you would go to food. So even if you're not having one of those days where you want to go to the fridge or you want to just eat everything in sight, I want you to get in the habit of reaching out to those people, being a little vulnerable, and finding that connection with the humans in your life. Is there anything else we could maybe say for a good challenge today?
No, I like that. I like that a lot, because having intimacy with a person is so much more rich than it is when you're looking for that intimacy with food.
That's so true. And you guys, you guys all know how you feel after about 20 seconds of eating a lot of something that was in the fridge. It makes you feel so low and so empty. So I think it just always backfires in the long run. So I want to get you guys in the habit of finding that connection, just like Hilary said. Tell us where we can find more about you. Okay, so you can follow me on all social media, wherever your favorite place is, but mine is Periscope. So I'm at Ask Hilary Silver, Hilary with one L. And then my website is hilarysilver.com. So, and
I'm going to be offering.
Yeah.
Can I do that?
Yeah, of course.
I have my program, Hot, Healthy, and Happily Ever After, is my signature 7-step system for you to keep your love and passion alive for the long term. It's a combination of everything that I've learned professionally and in my personal life. We work at it every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm offering all of you guys $100 off that program, so you just need to sign up. And I'll put the link
in the email. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all in the email. And you guys, she's a great periscoper. She has great information. So we also, later today, it depends when you watch this video, but later today we're going to be doing a periscope again together for some Q&A. So don't miss out on it. It's going to be a really great combo. So thank you for coming. I really love having you. Let me know your comments and then go get your connections with people in your life. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.